What is up, divergent friends? Welcome to Cognitive Dissonance, the channel where we look at the insanity surrounding us, and we have some insanity to talk about today. So apparently, nobody wants to work anymore. Who knew? Who knew? I mean, it's not as if incentivizing being on unemployment may actually make people decide they're better off staying at home and potentially getting paid more than if they were working. And as if that isn't enough, the labor shortage is leading to actual shortages in a variety of supplies. And with the continuous printing of money and the inevitable inflation that comes with that, we're seeing things line up for a true economic catastrophe. So, what will our genius overlords do? Is there a plan? Are they going to build this back better? Before I get into that, if you haven't gone over to Rokfin yet and made the free account, I don't know what you're doing with your life. They are a true free speech platform, and if you subscribe through my channel over there, you get not only my premium content, but all the premium content on the platform for only $9.99 a month. There are a ton of awesome creators over there, and now you can download the Rokfin app from the Play Store and watch on your mobile. So if you like my content, you can go over there and make the Rokfin account or support me directly at Loyal2ThaFoil.com or with Cashapp. The info is in the description below. Okay, so it's kind of crazy. You know, at places across the country, we are seeing a growing number of employers complaining that they're unable to reach full staffing levels. In fact, there have been like a spate of viral videos and photos of workplaces with signs posted asking people to be patient with the service that they get because, like, literally nobody wants to work anymore. And not gonna lie, at first I kind of laughed at that shit. Then I really started thinking about it, and I was like, damn, man, this is like a serious problem. I mean, now people on the left will swear up and down that the actual issue is that people don't want to work for slave wages, that these companies aren't paying enough, and that the recent federal boost to unemployment benefits and the surge in government assistance in general has nothing to do with this. You might also hear that people are afraid to go back to work because of COVID, or that working parents are having issues finding childcare. Yeah, I don't buy that. Nope. I don't buy that. When businesses first started locking down last year and sending people home, and the government responded with enhanced unemployment and the mass printing of money, it created simultaneous issues. We ended up with an increase in demand because there was an increase in the amount of disposable income. And at the same time, there was a decrease in supply because people weren't working. Things were not getting produced. Products were not getting shipped, which meant less availability in the stores. Not only that, but obviously we have seen a variety of supply chain issues with other things. And when you have more money in the system, but less things to buy, that means the price on the stuff that is available is going to increase. I mean, this is literally textbook inflation. And we've seen this with everything, from lumber to appliances to chicken and beef. In our case, some places like Bank of America are even predicting hyperinflation, transitory hyperinflation. And now that places are opening back up, demand is even higher. People want to spend their money, but the supply issues are getting even worse. I mean, even recently, we've seen this with the colonial catastrophe, the pipeline shutdown, with the Suez Canal blockage. Like, supply issues are getting worse. Not to mention, people have to actually go to work to produce enough stuff to fill the increase in demand. And if nobody wants to work, well, I mean, that is a problem. That is a problem. So much of a problem, in fact, that states, at least 16 states, are ending enhanced unemployment benefits before they expire in September. I mean, now, guys, naturally, these are red states with Republican governors, which is like literally puckering the assholes of leftists everywhere. And after the hugely disappointing jobs report in April, and the fact that we now know there are a record 8.1 million jobs to fill, even the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is blaming the extra unemployment. Their analysis showed that the extra 300 a month means that 1 in 4 people are taking home more in unemployment than they were getting while working. Now, naturally, Biden trotted out his lying dog-faced pony soldiers to try and dispel this mess. He sent Labor Secretary Walsh and Janet Yellen to go make the rounds on MSM, and they did. And they did. They claim that it's not the unemployment. I beg to differ. And when we see so much pushback from such high-level players on something that is so freaking obvious, I gotta ask, what is really going on here? I actually have something of an answer for you. You guys know that I routinely trace things back to Dr. Evil himself, the World Economic Forum's Klaus Schwab. And there's a reason for that. Okay? He is the poster boy for the Great Reset. And he literally wrote the book on it, for God's sakes. He's been pushing himself as a prophet of what he calls the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is something he also wrote the book on. And in this Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is something he really started pushing in 2016, he insisted that with the coming automation and interconnectedness that accompanies the advances in technology that we've seen, that society was going to have to be completely reformatted. A new social contract, new governmental structures, and a new way of life based on sustainability and equity. Okay, and most importantly, an entire reformatting of what we consider work and the nature of work. Now, super conveniently, the situation we find ourselves in with the pandemic gave the predator class the exact excuse that they were looking for to really start pushing to implement these massive social changes, especially when it comes to unemployment and employment. You didn't think that these things all happening at once. You didn't think that was a coincidence, did you? I don't know. I'm just asking. But Klaus is predicting that 85 million jobs are going to be eliminated and that half of these people are going to need reskilling. And here's the thing. They're going to try and tell you that an equivalent number of jobs or even more jobs will become available, right? But there's no fundamental way to prove this. And even with reskilling or upskilling, you're going to have a certain amount of the people that just aren't up to the task. This is like learn to code 2.0, right? Listen to them. Listen to this.
COVID-19 is one of the biggest crises of our time. It has impacted every single one of us, shaken our social systems, and disrupted every sector of our economies. The automation of work, combined with a global recession, led workers to lose their jobs at an accelerated pace compared to previous years. And this trend is expected to continue. The ongoing shift in the division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms might displace 85 million jobs worldwide in the next 5 years, while 97 million new roles, ones that are more adapted to this new task distribution, may emerge. By 2025, companies expect to displace roughly 6% of their total workforce. 1 in 2 workers will need reskilling, and those remaining in their current roles will need to update 40% of their skill set to adapt to the changing labor market. There is a way to collectively benefit from these challenging times. Decades of research have shown that the most valuable asset of any economy or company is its human capital. Around the globe, companies are already experiencing a shortage in relevant skills for future roles and are investing in reskilling and upskilling their workforce. By 2025, organizations say they will train over 70% of their employees to ensure they can smoothly transition into the jobs of tomorrow. These include DevOps engineers, artificial intelligence specialists, digital marketing managers, talent acquisition specialists, and customer success specialists. It will take on average between 2 weeks and 5 months for workers to pick up new skills, allowing them to move into these new roles. But data shows they won't need to have the perfect skill set to start transitioning. While 2/3 of employers expect to get a return on investment in employees' reskilling programs within just 1 year, governments will also need to step in to update and fund education and training systems and to ensure displaced workers have adequate safety nets. With purposeful leadership and collaboration, we can turn this global crisis into a unique opportunity to transition into a future of jobs that is inclusive, fair, and sustainable.
This is how you know people are waking up. You see the ratio on this? Almost all their videos are like that. Love to see it. So you see they mentioned having an adequate safety net for displaced workers. This is why they push universal basic income. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the expanded unemployment was a beta test. And although a lot of people are looking at it like, man, that failed miserably. I mean, to be honest, I don't know that it did. I think it did exactly what they thought it would. I think it went exactly according to their plan. In this new future, they don't want everybody working. They don't want you to own real property or to demand privacy or any of the things that up until about a year ago, most of us took for granted. They want you dependent on the elites to tell you how to live. And listen, not that the workforce doesn't need to be updating and improving, or not that there's not fundamental shifts coming, but assuming that they should be the ones to dictate how we adapt to these shifts, this is where I have an issue. Also, they try to paint this really nice picture, right? They really want to church it up a bit. But in the end, this is just about further expanding the control grid and limiting the number of people that have the access or the means to affect that control grid in the future. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. I mean, it's 2030. I own nothing. I have no privacy, and I've never been happier. Remember that? Yeah, some of that. So, clearly they're at their propaganda. In October of 2020, the World Economic Forum issued a white paper on what they call their future of work agenda. Now, they talk about this yearly at Davos, which I've talked about in other videos. Go and check those out. I've got them up on every platform. But because of the Rona, this year was a little bit different, right? They point out that more than 50% of companies have basically accelerated automation in response to the crisis. So for the people, so for you people that think you shouldn't have to work at some of these jobs, y'all about to be the same people crying when they are wheeling in these robots to replace workers. Spoiler alert, you ain't got to pay a damn robot, okay? You ain't got to pay a robot. So there's that. They talk a lot about something that they call vertical restructuring of companies. And they say the trend towards such vertical restructuring, eliminating functions and departments to streamline decision making, right? Bringing it closer to where companies' future value will be created is accelerating. So this vertical restructuring essentially means eliminating middle management, right? Further dichotomizing the workspace. You're going to have controllers and you're going to have workers. And it's funny that they push this because it sounds a lot to me kind of like how they're eliminating the middle class, leaving only the elites and the poors, right? Because that's what this is. That's what this whole thing is. It's just been a massive redistribution of wealth, right? Only not in the way that the leftists are pushing. This has not been from the top down. This has strictly been from the bottom up. Okay? And they argue that by doing this, it's going to allow for faster adaptation of these businesses and faster decision making, which may be true, but it's only going to further the division that is inherent in such a bipolar structure. Okay? Something else that they mention here is moving beyond boxing individuals based on their current jobs, right? They say moving beyond boxing individuals based on their current jobs designations to a model that encompasses the employee holistically, shifting focus to collating and tracking employees' career history, both inside and outside of the organization, their associated skill sets and experience beyond their day-to-day professional job, beyond their day-to-day professional job. Okay, volunteering, any board memberships, any organizations you're a member of, that's all going to help in developing this new structure. Okay, both they want to look at people holistically, both on and off the job. So yeah, they're going to need all your data for that, for them to make an informed decision. And they flat out say, they flat out say that while this is happening, employees that are adapting to this more fluid environment are going to have less structure or stability in their role. Right? They say managers having less authority due to the easing of reporting lines, employees adapting in a more fluid environment with less structure or stabilities in their role. So being transparent and clearly articulating the future organization's visions and values is important to provide transitional support to ease employees' concerns during this phase. They're going to ease you right into it. Don't worry, they're going to tell you what they're doing first. Imagine that, right? Imagine that. Um, Man, they focus a lot on remote working, which, I got to be honest. I got to be honest. That's the one thing I can understand. Like, I was working remotely before the shenanigans commenced, and personally, I love it. But this has brought an entirely new set of problems. Okay? I mean, you can see prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, less than 25% of companies offered remote working for their employees. Uh, Currently, now more than 75% of companies have some form of remote work, which I suppose is a good thing. Um, but like I said, it's brought its own set of problems. A lot of people didn't have the proper equipment at home or, a home office, so they were able to adapt. The people that did, man, the people that did were expected to do more work and work more hours just because they were at home. I mean, I can speak to that personally. And a lot of these companies have been called out for having like no boundaries, right? So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's it's kind of crazy. They say in the UK alone, 48% of people working remotely reported long and irregular hours during the initial weeks of lockdown, and 60% said they were showing increased symptoms of fatigue. I mean, that they figure you're at home. Hey, what else you got to be doing, right? And to make all of this work, and this is kind of the thing. To make all of this work, they're insisting on a redefinition of traditional capitalism to something that they call stakeholder capitalism, right? Which has been kind of a buzzword. And to be fair, although Klaus wrote a book on this too, this is actually an idea that was promoted at first in the 30s, right? I don't know, probably because the 30s sucked, but whatevs. So in this farcical model of stakeholder capitalism, there it is, uh, companies are supposed to act in the best interest of everybody involved, right? I mean, literally, for a company to be allowed to survive, they will have to answer to customers, employees, the environment, society as a whole, government, not specifically to actual shareholders, which, I gotta be honest, sounds kind of like a freaking PR push to me. I mean, how is that supposed to work? It really sounds like a public relations push to make it seem like these people actually give a shit about these things. But let's just keep it 100, right? The nature of a business is to make money. And it seems to work fine. There are no perfect societies, people. There's probably never going to be a perfect society. There are always going to be divisions in society. The good thing about our society is that we have already implemented the means that if you really want it, you can find a way to go out there and get it. That's what's great about this country. That's why people want to come to this country, right? You ain't got to have an education. You ain't got to be the top 1%. If you have drive and ambition, a little bit of common sense and a little bit of smarts, you can find a way to make it here. And if you make it here, even in the worst case, you're still better off than 90% of the rest of the world. Okay? So like I said, I mean, the nature of business is to make money. Literally nobody starts a company thinking like, gee, I wonder how I can answer to the whole world at the total expense of actual freaking profits. I mean, out of all of these stakeholders, how do they prioritize that? Are they all supposed to be equal? I mean, how does that get anything done? That just sounds like too many cooks in the kitchen, man. Like I said before, I mean, these people are the elites. They may want those who will continue to work to have an updated skill set, for sure, but only to continue to do what they have always done, and that's to pull freaking strings. And for the poors that won't be able to work in this new system, they're going to pay you just enough to stay out of their way. Don't think for a minute that government benefits are anything other than another string pull for these people. It keeps you dependent. It keeps you dependent. And man, listen, I am not here to doomsay. Okay, I have the utmost faith in all of you. I tell you this so that you know what is going on, so that you can have the information to make whatever adjustments or preparations that you need to make. Because these people are making moves quicker now than ever. But if you know where to look, you can always see what's coming. Right? So that's what I got for you today. Again, if you like my content, you can support me at Loyal2ThaFoil.com or with Cash App. Info's in the description below. Also, beardvet.com, yo. You can get your coffee, your manly beard supplies. Use promo code SFN at checkout for 10% off. A portion of the proceeds supports veteran charities. Can't beat that. Check me out on Rokfin. Alara is over there with me, so check that out too. If you are watching this on any platform and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Let the algorithms know you want to see more content like this. Until next time, much love and stay loyal.